Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So on December 17, the Nigerian delegation arrived in Burkina Faso in Ouagadougou, and they've met with the president Ibrahim Traore. And during this delegation that arrived apologized for the violation of the Burkina Faso airspace by the Nigerian aircraft during the incident in Benin on the 7th of December. During the apology, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Nigeria stuck to the line, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to diplomacy, you can see that Nigeria is sticking to the narrative that this was a landing which, the plane suffered difficulties. And the Burkina Faso Authority, of course, they haven't. Remember, I said in my previous analysis that the Burkina Faso Authority did not release a statement themselves. The statement was released by the AES, signed by the government, by the president of the AES. And during this lessening of tension, diplomatic tension, I see the Burkina Faso Authority is giving the Nigerian delegation, the Nigerian government, a soft landing or a way out of the situation. You see that they were forced to apologize, even though diplomatically they can, at least publicly, they can admit that they were up to nefarious or on a nefarious mission in Burkina Faso airspace and got caught. This will be a complete embarrassment of the Nigerian government. And during diplomacy, you don't want to always embarrass the other side. We see it in world affairs, whether it's even in Russia, Ukraine, even with the US and Russia, you see they're making like diplomatic moves by exchange of prisoners and so forth. But that's another topic. If you notice something interesting, the Burkina Faso Authority never released any image of these detained 11 soldiers. They weren't images or pictures of them weren't released of them being questioned, them being detained, them in detention, and so forth. The Burkina Faso and the AES governments are being run by the military, so they understand. And you can see the maturity of these governments that they wouldn't release any embarrassing photo or anything of these military men because they understand that these men are not acting on their own volition. They were sent on a stupid mission, or probably or allegedly sent on a stupid mission where they got caught, and they don't want to embarrass them. Also, this is brotherhood fraternity between Africans. We don't want to see African countries going at it. It's good that this situation is being de-escalated, and the Tinubu regime had no choice but to de-escalate. And in our analysis, there's a few reasons why they needed this de-escalation, and the apology is the best case scenario for the Tinubu regime, and I'll explain. So why is Tinubu feeling the pressure and the need to send a delegation? And I said before that this negotiation was never with the Burkina Faso Authority per se. It is with the AES Authority, but still, you don't want to embarrass your opponents. Tinubu will find himself in a very sticky situation. And I said it the first time that Tinubu is playing a very dangerous game, allowing himself to be manipulated, to find himself being sent on a stupid mission, we believe, or allegedly, by the Macronian regime in Paris. So one of the things is interesting during the Minister of Foreign Affairs, or the foreign minister of Nigeria. One of the things he said is that political parties are saying that the soldiers are being mistreated. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why Tinubu needed this thing or needs this thing to resolve as fast as possible, as with less noise as possible, and then they need a way out. In diplomacy, you should always want to give your opponents or your opponent or the other side a way out. Even though Tinubu is in the wrong. You don't want to push them to make decision because they're feeling the political backlash at home, and that is what was happening. The vultures started to gather. I like to refer to politicians as vulture. They can smell blood, so they are turning this issue against Tinubu. They're saying that soldiers are being mistreated, so they're using it as a political weapon. And something interesting, Tinubu had a meeting with military officials a few days ago, I think on the 16th or something like that. And he's making it clear that the military should stay out of politics. Interesting. And that is another reason why Tinubu wants to resolve this issue very quick and very quietly, as quietly as possible. The military, by this happening, felt embarrassed. The military of Nigeria, they've been catching a lot of slack in the fight against terrorism in the country. What was thought to be a win in Benin, it's coming out now that it is, or the win that happened in Benin, this event overshadowed it, or the supposed win that happened in Benin, this event overshadowed it. So grumbling can be happening in the military, and Tinubu will send something like that. This is another excuse. This will cause another political situation where what will happen. Tinubu might be, what we mean. The soldiers, the military ranks in the ranks of the military might get upset, dissatisfied, and the blame will definitely land on the Tinubu regime shoulders. As of today, December 18th, we don't know if these 11 servicemen have been released. The AES and the Burkina Faso Authority haven't released the finding of their investigation. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff circling online, so we're not going to comment on that. We don't know if they've been released, but we've seen the delegation took a photo. So you can see this is mainly to calm the political noise in Nigeria. Yes, they've apologized for this violation of Burkina Faso airspace. But the main reason why Tinubu needs to get this, I repeat it again, is to lower that political noise and tension in Nigeria and within the military itself. And there's nothing on Nigeria's side in this. It's international law is on the side of Burkina Faso and the AES, because this was a violation of sovereign airspace by the Nigerian military. No matter what anybody wants to say, we're not going to hear to complain which military is stronger and blah, blah, blah. We don't need all that. We don't need African countries to go to war. So Nigeria had to apologize for this. And remember, one of the things that President Traore said in one of his interviews when he traveled to Moscow about General Langley, who made a statement which was untrue, is that they demanded a public apology because the statement was made public. So this is the best that could happen to Tinubu and the Tinubu regime. And the reason why Burkina Faso received this delegation is that Tinubu have been talking this tough talk, refusing to acknowledge the AES and so forth. They're trying to use this divide and rule. Yeah, let's negotiate with Burkina Faso, pumping his chest and so forth. So by receiving this delegation, again, you give Tinubu a way out. You don't want to back him in a corner. In diplomacy, you should always want to give your opponent a way out. So yes, I believe a lot of negotiation took place between the AES authorities, because this investigation has to be at the AES level, which means the negotiation has to be at the AES level. And you don't want, the AES is not like it's not like ECOWAS, which is run by outside forces. The AES makes strategic decisions. These are strategic thinkers. These people are very strategic in what they do. So therefore, the AES don't need unnecessary tension, because there's a script that Macron has given Tinubu and ECOWAS to stick by, which mean that these are populist regime, very difficult, very hard to work with, and so forth. So this is why Tinubu started with we will send a delegation to Burkina Faso when the communique and so forth was made that this was a violation of AES airspace, but still you allow them that win or so-called win. You don't want to push these people to put the AES in a bad light to say they're being difficult, they're being stubborn and so forth. These are dictator government, whatever they can use, and they don't want to negotiate with us. They want to hold our servicemen hostage. So you can see this was a brilliant stroke by the AES leader and Burkina Faso by letting this delegation in. And you see the tone of the delegation when it comes. It was very respectful, I might add. It was very respectful. It was very cordial. They talk about cooperation and so forth between Nigeria and Burkina Faso. This is just diplomatic speak. Nigeria cooperation will be with the AES. Any cooperation in the fight against terrorism and security will be with the AES. So this is just diplomatic speak to say that we came here in good in the spirit of brotherhood, as the foreign minister used in his remark. And the public apology is key. The public apology is key because it diffused the public tension. It diffused the public relation. It better the public relation on either side, because Burkina Faso and the AES don't want to have unnecessary tension with the Nigerian authority. France and their Western backers can use this to their advantage to manipulate in the media and so forth to cause a divide against Africans in the region and so forth. But still, Tinubu regime is in the wrong, and it has been caught. And yeah, so we will see. We don't know if the servicemen have been released. We hope they get released to their families, of course. But one of the interesting thing is that a picture of one of the servicemen, people, you can tell they were taking care of in Burkina Faso. One of them didn't lose a hinge on his stomach. The way he's just squeezed on him is as if over the past few days he was well fed. So that is good. You see, Burkina Faso did not try to embarrass these people, nor the AS didn't try to embarrass these military men, because they were sent on a mission, or allegedly sent on a mission to carry out something that the alleged mastermind did not have the gall to do. They did not have the capability to do, but they sent them anyway. So Nigerian politics is definitely in play. Strategic politics is in play in the AES by receiving this delegation and so forth. So we don't know if the plane have been released, and we don't know what are the findings of the AES. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're happy that things have de-escalated. It's hard because when you go online, there's a lot of divide and rule. Nigeria is stronger, AES is stronger. We don't need that. We want to see the people of the region come together, live in harmony, prosperity, and to get rid of this scourge. The problem of the region is definitely a outside force who are using their puppets to subjugate the people of the region, keep them in poverty, ignorance, insecurity, and so forth. The people of the region will get along. They've been around forever, since the beginning of time. So thank you so much, and that is a brief analysis. I'm not where I can make a more in-depth video. Hopefully soon I can make an in-depth video of this, but we're happy to see the diffusion of tensions in this situation. And there's a lot of good things that the AES is having coming up. There is a summit of the head of states. We can look out for many big things that might happen soon. The creation of the Investment Development Bank of the AES just happened earlier this month. So all this extra tension is not needed. Country who wants to develop, who wants to thrive, does not prolong tension. The first sign of getting out is normally the route taken. The first route of getting out of these troubles is normally what's taken. Unlike Nigeria, who tend to be manipulated by the guy from France. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. We always try to bring you good analysis, and thank you.